It's that level of congruency, isn't it, Pete? Like where you just know it's going to happen. That, you know, it's not about how I get there so much, but I know I'm going to get there and I'll navigate whatever I need to navigate in the process to get to the goal. But it's the knowledge, the belief, the faith that's for me. So it's kind of like, you know, keeping track of the why.
Yeah. Why you started that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I doing what I do? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
The Connekt Coaching Unplugged.
Welcome to Connekt Coaching Unplugged, episode 4. We have 2 international trainers joining us. We have Genevieve Lai from Soul Anchorage, which is a leading NLP multiple certification training school based in Canberra, delivers live trainings and online. And we have Peter Hanna, who is located in Sydney. Peter is also a trainer and he harnesses his skill set with helping the corporate world and executives in Australia, mainly in Australia, reach higher levels in the corporate world and to help people realize that the glass ceiling they put on themselves in their career is simply that, a glass ceiling. And he helps professionals break through that. So welcome to Connekt Coaching Unplugged, episode number 4.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Alrighty. I am now live on all the different channels. So awesome. I am just going to go back through those intros and dive in a little bit deeper into what Jen and Peter actually are up to. But if you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in. This is Connekt Unplugged podcast. It's your all areas access pass to the behind the scenes of what goes on in other people's coaching and training businesses. We wanted to build our community around the amazing network that we have worldwide and start to showcase some of the people that are doing amazing things in the industry and have conversations that are going to support the people that are getting started out so that you can know that it's not just you going through the different growing pains and the different challenges that come up when you start in this business, as well as having a community that you can turn to get new ideas and get new, basically get inspired by where these guys are. We're wanting to bridge the gap between where you are and where these guys are and show you that the opportunities are right at your fingertips. And through the Connekt Unplugged podcast, we really want to share those stories. So we have Peter here joining us. Peter is now a very good friend of mine as well. He is internationally certified coach and founder of Hanna Consulting, a coaching and training practice for leaders with a holistic focus on performance and well-being. He has over 20 years of experience in sales, technology, consulting, and leadership, and holds qualifications in the psychology and neuroscience of excellence and leadership as well. Peter's mission is to create a world where profit and human well-being exists in harmony through the development of conscious leaders who are more effective because they enhance human connection. He coaches, trains, and consults organizations on executive presence, being a person of influence, and creating aligned and high-performing teams. He has helped senior professionals at AWS, ANZ Bank, CBA, FPOS Australia, Asonia Australia, Gartner, Equinix, Earthworks, McGrath Real Estate, and more with their self-development, and has achieved an overall NPS score over 90%. And that's amazing, buddy. And we also have Genevieve Lai, the founder of Soul Anchorage. Genevieve is a trainer who talks the talk and walks the walk and has been trained by dozens of master trainers from across the globe. That's master trainers in NLP. She's seen hundreds of repeat clients, thousands of sessions, and taught countless coaches and therapists and counselors from around the world, US, Canada, Ireland, England, Cambodia, just to name a few, and is the only female master trainer of NLP and hypnosis in Australia actively teaching. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. We're looking forward to the conversation today and diving into what you guys have been up to.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for inviting us.
Yeah. So you guys are quite busy at the moment. I might dive into, Jen, what you're up to, because I know that you're midway through your practitioner training at the moment, teaching NLP. So why don't you share with us a little bit about your journey from starting out as a practitioner of NLP and learning different skill sets. I know that you came from a leadership background in corporate as well, but why don't you share your story from then until now and how you came to be a master trainer in such a short period of time, record-breaking time, and what your, I guess, ethos and vision is behind Soul Anchorage.
Yep. So for me, I had wanted to do NLP for a very long time, working in corporate in relation to having exceptional communication skills and being able to support people in the way that they needed to be supported. At that time, I wasn't supported in my workplace to do the training because it was a long training. So when I had the opportunity, I booked myself in to do the training. And for me, from my years working in corporate leadership, it was absolutely the missing piece of the puzzle for me to get really rapid change very, very quickly that was going to be sustainable. And as a leader, that's what I want for my teams. So after I did the first training, when you know what you know, you can't unknow what you know.
Right.
And I knew that it was the piece that had been missing from my jigsaw puzzle. And once I knew that, why on earth would I stop?
Yeah, brilliant.
So I knew from that moment I needed to learn everything that I could possibly learn so I could be the best leader and so I could be the best version of myself, whether it's parent, partner, doesn't matter. So I took it on. I made a commitment because I learned about commitment in my very first training. And I made a commitment to learn everything that I possibly could and to give that back. My belief is that the techniques that we teach are a fundamental human right. And they are something that we should be taught from the get-go. It's a way of being in the world and a way of navigating the world with ease and grace. And everyone has a right to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I've noticed after working alongside you and with you and seeing your journey through that period, how you've now not just helped yourself and gotten the skills yourself and become a great leader yourself, but you're now looking at other leaders, other professionals, other women that are out there that are doing everything for everyone else and saving very little time for themselves. They're very successful in their businesses, in their corporate careers, but unfortunately other areas of their life are suffering, and generally the areas that are for themselves. So it's great that you've actually transformed yourself, but then you've been able to now serve and help those people that are, I guess, on the same journey that you were on when you first started.
And the other thing that's really important for me is that these people have incredible skills. And through things like imposter syndrome and burnout and things like that, we're losing these incredible skills. And these people are the mentors of our leaders of the future.
Yeah. That's an interesting concept. Yeah. So what you're saying is that you're seeing a trend of people who display behaviors of excellence in leadership and communication simply getting burnt out because of why is it like rapid change, trying to juggle too much in life? But as a result, they're tapping out. They're taking their services and saying, I don't want to have this anymore. But as a result, we're not keeping the best in line in order to train up the next generation who are coming up. So then I guess it ponders the question, who is?
That's right. And also the realization that we don't have to keep doing what we've always done. We've done what we've done, and we can actually move to the next level. So if we're not finding balance anymore because our lives are transforming, our children are getting older, whatever it may be, we don't have to be stuck in, well, it's what I've always done, so I'll just keep doing it, it pays the bills, all of that kind of stuff. That's how we get burnt out. Where is the passion? Where is the purpose? If you're living a life of purpose, you're not working. If you're living a life of purpose, your work becomes part of the life you're living. It's not separate. It is part of who you are.
I like what you said there, Jen, about skills and people having all these skills inside that are capped or hindered by imposter syndrome and all these other things all these other labels that are thrown around these days. Convenient labels sometimes. It's like a light switch almost. One of my mentors described it as a light switch. Your skills switch off if you don't believe you can do it or you don't have the emotional capacity to do it. It's literally like a light switch. You have the skill, you have the ability, you know how, you've got the knowledge, but it's as if the lights are turned off. And so we don't express that as parents, as leaders. Parents are leaders. In fact, with coaching, I find that a lot of corporate leaders, their parenting style is similar to their leadership style. There's a correlation, a massive correlation. And it's fun to kind of realize that because then when you change, you get change on both fronts, which is nice. Your point around skill and purpose, they're huge. They're huge. I love it.
And also around being able to be authentic in all of the different aspects, rather than having different personas for the different aspects of our lives. Many women don't have a very different persona in their careers than they do in their family. And like you're saying, Pete, if they don't, that can be a problem.
I'm curious, Jen, what do you see? Because I've coached some, what do I call them? Higher power corporate women. What do you notice?
What I notice I'll speak from my own journey, is that there's a belief that to succeed in that environment, we must be more masculine. That's why in the 80s, there were shoulder pads and pants for women. It created the male shape, right? The triangular shape, so that we could be more masculine. And through the wearing of the clothes, it actually changed our internal state, which changed our physiology, which changed our behavior. We became more masculine. When we are working 60 hours a week, it is really hard to take off that persona and put on the mother nurturer persona. We end up getting stuck in the work persona and we don't know how to access our other side. And it creates misery.
That's actually pretty much the same language that I use around the masculine, feminine dynamic. Yeah, very cool. Didn't know that about the 80s.
And do you think the leap between that, Jen, that archetype that you just described with the triangular shape and the shoulder pads, and do you think the leap from there to being more authentic across all areas of life and being able to be who you are, Connor talks about it as wearing a mask and, taking the mask off and being yourself across all areas of life. Do you feel like, is it a belief or a concern that they won't get the same results if they're not embodying that archetype? Or do you feel like it's a sense of, wow, once I be authentic, there is a level of vulnerability that I have to go through in order to get there? What specifically do you think?
Both. So there is a belief, and I think it's quite universal across males and females, is that vulnerability means weakness or risk. Yeah. So it is my belief and my experience that when we drop into our vulnerability, that is actually where our strength lies. So once we can drop into our authenticity and we can be consistently who we are across all aspects, then we learn to accept ourselves.
But for
because
some people, it's very
nobody
hard.
else, well, other people aren't rejecting us. We're rejecting it.
Exactly. And that's what they don't see. And they just, in the workplace, in corporate trainings, every leader is told, be more vulnerable. It will encourage your team to be more vulnerable. They'll connect with you. You'll deepen the connection, et cetera, et cetera. But they've got this invisible barrier inside that won't allow that. And I think it's only when they see, based on their experiences, based on how they filter their whole experience, when they become consciously aware of, when did I start to think that vulnerability is a unsafe place to be? That's when the lights turn on. That's when they realize, wow, that was a choice.
When does it start?
I think also seeing more leaders being vulnerable and being able to model that is a lot easier. So telling someone to change behavior, but not showing them how to do it is a moot point for some people that just don't have the neurology to do it. And as you were talking and the evolved, this has evolved, as Jen said, from the 80s. I was watching the evolution of high jump. And in the early days, people would literally do high jumping as if they're jumping over a hurdle. And then over the years, it became jumping backwards and then flicking the legs over. So I think the more people embrace the change, the more it will evolve. And the discussion we're having now will be no different from the discussion they would have had in the 80s. But we don't even know where it's going. But this is where we are now. So I think having more, saying leaders should be more vulnerable and telling them how to do it is one thing, but actually modeling someone who does it means that the uptake of the new behavior will be much quicker. I guess, where am I going with this? The question is then, how do we do that? How do we show leaders to be more vulnerable without just telling them to do it?
By doing it, by being it, by, authentic. Like, if more people walk the walk, then it becomes a safer place to be for others.
I think your question's an interesting one.
Is that what you mean? It's got to start from the top. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only start from the top, but have the skills so that you can impart the how to the people who you are leading.
Yeah. This is all communication, isn't it? So if you can articulate it more effectively than someone can in their model of the world, they get it. But if you're talking triangles, but they need to hear squares in order to do it, they won't do it. So I just listening here, one of the core foundations to improve would be your communication, so you can articulate it in a way that they get it and they feel okay to move forward because it matches how they process information in their brain.
Yeah, that's right. And that's all about having flexibility of behavior, isn't it? So that you're receiving the feedback you receive is the response you get.
Yeah.
I've seen a huge change since Brene Brown did her first TED Talk and started to bring a lot of this vulnerability conversation into the corporate arena, into the public business arena. And I think that she made a lot of headway with her work. I found when I was working for the previous organization I worked with, I wasn't fully able to be myself, and I felt quite, I wouldn't say I felt stuck. I knew what I was doing, but at the same time, I felt like I wasn't able to give my all to what I was doing and to the people I was helping and serving, because there was places in the conversation that I knew were a hard line and I couldn't go past that. And I guess one of the ways that I've been practicing it, and, I can't speak on behalf of women being vulnerable, but one of the ways that I've found myself practicing vulnerability is through some of the Facebook and Instagram posts that I've been putting out publicly. And a big part of the reason why I'm doing that is because I I want to, I want the energy back that I used to take up by being within those boundaries and creating those boundaries myself. I want to be free and speak freely and be myself so that I can be the same person online as I am when, I am in private with my friends or my family. And, when Connor and I are having private conversations offline, I want that same person to shine through. And, it has been, I haven't found it difficult, but there has been sort of moments where I've gone to hit the send button. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's bad for business, or I wonder if, that will be received in the best way. I wonder if I might even offend somebody. But I think especially through COVID, I think after COVID, I just got sick of caring about what other people think. It was exhausting. And I just felt like I just need to be more myself in business, because I want to create a lifestyle that the two, mesh together. It's not always going to be the perfect harmonious balance, but I want to build a lifestyle where both aspects of my life merge together, because both are very big parts of my life and I want them to complement each other. So I have been practicing that through those posts. And I think starting with small things and working your way up can definitely help people to be more vulnerable, because what I've found is people have actually been receiving those posts really, really well, and have contacted me either, through the post or directly, or given me a phone call. And it's helped me to actually deepen the relationships that I've had with those people, because they're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize you felt that way about that. I didn't realize that you went through that. I had a similar experience, and, you seem to have gotten through the other side of it. How was that journey? And yeah, it's created a lot more depth to those relationships that previously would have been just more of a business relationship and I guess a surface level type thing.
And what did that take to start those posts? It's kind of like the high jump analogy. The bar starts here, and then you slowly raise the bar with every post. You gain comfort or reassurance or whatever it might be for you, that it's okay. And you're getting great feedback. But it takes that courage at the start. I think that's a Brené Brown mantra as well, that you've got to have the courage to just kick it all off.
Before I did NLP, I didn't have a photo of me on my public profile.
Wow. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
Because I wasn't safe to be seen.
Whoa. That blows me away, just to see where you are now. And how I went to your last workshop. It was started at 6 a.m. You had people from the US, you had people from Canada, you had people from Australia there, and you just nailed it. And I remember just sitting back and being so happy for you, because you have been doing a lot of work in recent times and getting your master trainer and really taking your presentations to a whole new level and really refining them. And I remember one point, and I've spoken to you about this point throughout the workshop, where you were just nailing it. It felt like I was looking around the room and I could see your target audience in the room, and the things you were saying, and not just the things you were saying, but the way you were saying it was just hitting home for every single one of them. You were cutting through all those resistance bands to that core resistance that they're all feeling, and they're all like this. Their heads were going to nod off their head. So it's fascinating for me to think that, what was it, 5 years ago? That even 5 years ago, you didn't even have your own picture up on your social media. That is mind blowing. That is mind blowing.
And the thing is, I couldn't have connected with my audience if I wasn't able to go into my own vulnerability, connect to my past pain, to communicate with them. Because it's through my authenticity and that they feel that.
That's a great point, Jen. Like what are you being vulnerable about? You're being vulnerable about the past stuff that
I've overcome.
Exactly, that you've overcome, and you've got to be comfortable going there. Now, if that's not resolved, it's very hard to go there and make any sense of it, right? And it goes back to what you were saying earlier about you got to have the skills, you've got to have the tools to communicate with yourself first, to be able to let that stuff go, the baggage.
So one of the things I say to my students is, your healing is the gift you have a responsibility to give to the world.
Mm.
Mm.
So if you can't connect with that and if you can't communicate that, how do the people who need you see you? They can't find you if you aren't putting yourself out there in your truth.
I think that's something consistent you see with the best coaches, is that they own the past, and they've taken what they need from it, and it's actually the past that they're now offering to people in their present, which is exactly to me, it's what I make sense from what you just said, and then with our clients, Jen, having corporate leaders recognize that makes them just amazing mentors and coaches in their organizations and in their teams.
100%.
So you mentioned before, Peter, about communicating with yourself. What do you mean by that? So if there are some listeners here, it sounds lovely, and I think I might have a mind read on that, but it sounds like communicate with yourself. I get cool. Can you articulate what it actually means to someone who's maybe off the street, who knows that they know that they are the key for their own success, and they know they need to communicate with themselves, but what does it mean? And maybe how could you sort of verbalize that?
Yeah, it sounds funny to say it. And I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, well, I thought just crazy people talk to themselves. But we all do on some level. So, if somebody's aware enough that they are in charge of their own success, so they take responsibility first and foremost, then, I think it's bringing to their awareness just how much goes on inside. The Pavlov dog experiment, stimulus response, things just happen in a snap, something happens, you react. There's stuff that happens between some sort of stimulus and your reaction or your response. And it's unpacking what goes on in there. And the way that I describe it to clients is what they realize really quickly is when they, I describe it as sleepwalking, to use the exact term that I use in my coaching session. It's pretty much most people that are unaware of this are sleepwalking and just experiencing something and reacting. And what we want to do is awaken to what is actually going on inside. That's, to me, what is communicating with yourself. So what's going on inside? If we kind of come down a notch, it's thoughts, feelings, choices in the moment. And then, just first, I think it's noticing what they are. Okay. And then once you notice them, that gap between, stimulus response, which could have been a microsecond before you did this, starts to expand, and you start to realize, okay, maybe not the first time, maybe you start to realize, okay, this thing just made me angry, react angry. And then you start to notice, this thing makes me think this thought, and the thought causes me to be angry. And then you realize, this thing makes me think that, and hang on, that might not be true about that thing, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And start to actually question these thoughts and emotions in motion, in flight. And then you start to realize that, hey, I can actually change these. These are not who I am or what I am or how I'm supposed to be. I can actually make different choices. Mm-hmm. And that whole process, you're not communicating with anybody but yourself. Yeah. That's all you. That's all inside. And when you make different choices, you get different results, as we know. So I think
this is my favorite. One of my favorite talk tracks. You control your state, controls your behavior, ultimately controls your results. And I guess decisions would come under behavior, and seeing that thing that made you frustrated would be part of state control. Yeah, nice. Great articulation. So it's sort of like having the unconscious, what you're not aware of, being brought to your awareness, and then you can sort of segment it and go, All right, well, this equals this equals this. Let's change this at the beginning, and therefore this at the end will be on a completely different trajectory or a different result.
Yeah, it's about, opening yourself up to, hey, there's, this is a thin, should get a prop here. I use this prop, like I'm taking a thin slice of reality. Wait, there's a better one. I'm taking a thin slice of reality in this moment right now. This also is true. And this may feel different, and this may create a different behavior and a different result.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connekt Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting, the Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely. What we love doing is lighting people up and helping them realize that their future is bright, and most importantly, making a difference in this world. So we are very excited to be able to share this with you.
If you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connekt Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting. If you are a practitioner, a coach, or a trainer in the alternative therapy modality space, the Forever Client Matrix is something that we've modeled in the last 30 combined years, both Connor and my experience. And we've turned it into a 2-day intensive, and we want to give you a preview of that, the Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely.
We want to make the bar for them to enter into that program very, very low and have them get incredible results.
I've sold about $40 million worth, and together we've sold about $100 million worth with our teams.
That's right. We believe that trust and reliability is the currency of the future. So if you want to turn every transaction into a transformational experience, if you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.
And I think one of the things that one of the impacts social media's had is it's designed to feed you what you already believe and what matches your bias. And whoever's listening, if you've seen The Social Dilemma or not, I recommend watching it. It's on Netflix, I think. They actually talk about growth engineers that hack the system, the algorithm, so that it creates dopamine hits in people. They keep seeing what they believe and buy into to keep coming back, for advertising purposes. And that's all good and well from a business point of view. However, for us as conscious leaders and our clients as conscious leaders, it's important to just be aware of that so that you can realize, hey, the world doesn't think like me. It's just this algorithm that's making me think that, and not accidentally trip up and think that, oh, everybody thinks this. Everybody's the same. And the reason I mention that is when you are communicating with yourself, if you've got that belief that this is how it is, then, you kind of dig your heels in, and it's a bit hard to come out of that. But you realize, social media or not, or maybe the people you hang around, is there are opposite ways of looking at this that are also true. And kind of expanding your field of vision in that way, seeing different possibilities. And that's where people get stuck, I think.
Change.
Oh, you're on mute, Cal.
I was saying, it sounds like to me that's part of probably your biggest job when you start working with someone, is to help bridge that gap. Because even you yourself said that when you were first hearing that you have to communicate with yourself, you have to, find out what's happening at the unconscious level to resolve the past and to be able to be free of that in the now. What are your strategies and what are your angles that you use to help bridge the gap with particularly, executives in corporate who, from my experience, may be a little bit more resistant to this type of coaching? Maybe they're not. Maybe that's a limiting belief of mine. But what is your strategy for being able to clearly articulate to them so that, many of them haven't been as highly trained as you and Jen have? How do you get that concept, that idea across to them so that you can create results for them fast?
So it's something that I call the self-awareness toolkit. And there's a couple of tools in there. It's to have them see what they don't see. What Jen said right at the start. Once you know something, you cannot unknow it. And once they see it, it pops up everywhere. It's like, there's the new Ferrari or the new Porsche. I'm not a huge Ferrari fan. There's the new Porsche 911.
All right, it's time to go now, Peter. Thanks.
Maybe some models. And there's the new Porsche or the new Ferrari. Oh, look, Connor's driving it. And then you start to see it everywhere. You start to see this thing everywhere. Yeah. And it's like, right, I've seen it. Now I cannot unsee it. And because I've got emotion there, I'm going to start seeing it everywhere. So helping corporate leaders, you're right. In my experience anyway, to begin with, there is resistance. It's just about the logic. It's about the numbers, the spreadsheets, business outcomes. And so I give them something very similar that's qualitative and quantitative to do daily so that they can start to see the pattern for themselves. They're putting all the inputs in. I'm giving them a framework. They're putting the inputs. It's theirs. And then when we catch up the following week, it's like, hey, what do you notice between these 7 entries?
Right.
Can you see the pattern that I see? And then they awaken and then they cannot unsee it. Then they're like, oh, well, I don't want to, I'll mind my language on here, but they say things and then realize I'm doing this at home with my husband or my wife. Oh, I'm doing this with my kids and I feel so bad about it. And there's this common pattern playing, and then they're open. Then they're open to, right, what's another approach? Because I'm sick and tired of this. What's another approach to, level up my performance? Or what's another approach to prepare myself for the next role? Because I know that I look at, the C-levels, for example, if they're an exec director of some sort and they look at the C-levels and that's the job they're gunning for, they sense the C-levels operate slightly different maybe to them. What's that hidden thing that they have that they don't? And as we know, it's all within. You can choose what to hold on to, what to let go of. But that's why I do the work that I do. I meet them, and it's the reason why I chose business. I learned the skills back in 2019, and I thought, right, like Jen, I can't unsee this. This is incredible. Where am I gonna play? What's my field of play? And I enjoy the business world. I love the business world. I saw some of the effects of the corporate system on people, colleagues, friends, even leaders themselves, and the impact. Everybody talks about work-life balance. Everybody has said it at some point. And then you look at the impact that the system has, and I thought, right, this is where I want to make a change. And when you make a change, when I say I meet them where they're at, their careers, for them to be so senior, are obviously high value to them. They've chosen the career as something to invest in to fulfill their values. And when that starts to look like it's at risk or not moving in the way that they want, they start to pay attention. Mm-hmm. And so when I meet them there and we work on career and the business persona, so to speak, they get ripple effects out into family life, as I did when I did this type of work. They get ripple effects out into all areas of life, which is the whole point. Is to change, harmony between performance and well-being. You can still perform at work and let it go and come home and just be your authentic self without carrying stuff around. Just let it go.
Nice. Thank you, Peter. As you were talking, I had a little, before we jumped on today, Jen was saying that this is like her 30th day straight training. And we sort of moved on to the discussion that it's only after that amount of days that you would develop a certain learning or a level of resilience in order to even do that. The neurology, and then because it's 30 days of learning, there's a level of understanding that would get deeper and deeper and deeper the longer you go, because if it's sort of like swimming out from shore. If you only swim out from shore in one day, you're only going out 100 meters and back. But if you keep swimming from shore, you can go out, 1,000 meters, and then it gets very, very deep. And that's the depth of level of understanding you get from training for so many days. So the question I had as you were talking was, everyone, like, there's a notion about change is good, and we have to be open for change, and we have to be okay to change, and we have to be flexible and agility in our acceptance of change, and so forth and so on. So where's the great, like, how do you dictate, or how do you determine when, okay, if you change too many times, you never get a deeper level of learning or understanding that only comes if you do something over and over again. So if you're always open for change and you always change, you never create the depth of knowledge needed, and only comes when you do something for a long period of time. Sometimes it's not even the best thing for you, but you do it for a long period of time. But it's the learnings you get out of that actually leapfrog you much, much further ahead. So I guess, open discussion, I don't have an answer, because I'm sort of probably real for me, but how do you know when is it change time? Does it have to get really bad? Or if it doesn't get really bad and you can change it any time, at what point do you put your hand up and make that change versus carry on and get those deeper learnings?
That is a brilliant question. My understanding of that is, once you've made the change and your neurology's changed and your thinking's changed, kind of what's the catalyst to then say, oh, it's time to change again? Do I just let that embed? And I think it goes back to, well, am I getting what I want? For me, are the results what I want? If they're not, keep going and there's no right or wrong answer to this, as you said. Keep going until you see that, okay, I'm measuring results and I'm measuring the right results, and it ain't happening. So what do I need to change? And back to your point around modeling and leaders modeling other leaders, who else has done this that I can model from a values point of view, from a beliefs point of view, capabilities? What skills do I need to take on and get really good at? There's a difference, I think, between change, and there's a difference between learning a skill. There's like psychology and skill. I think Tony Robbins describes confidence as psychology and skill. I've changed my psychology. I've let go of whatever was kind of that weird invisible glass ceiling holding me back that served a purpose in the past and no longer does, and embedding a skill and getting to know how to do something really well, like sales, in coaching, for example. I kind of compartmentalize those slightly, not too much, but they are connected, but compartmentalize those. That's how I would approach that. Like, is it time to change, or is it time to just get the reps in, like at the gym? Just keep going. You don't keep changing the style of workout at the gym because it didn't work after 2 weeks, and you're looking in the mirror and you're going, well, I didn't get the results.
Yeah. Or this is getting hard, I'll go do legs now. It's the push through that actually gets the gains.
There's got to be resistance.
Pain gets the gains.
To get through it. Yeah.
The key thing that you just said then that I took away from that, and it was also based on what you said when you work with corporates, the quantitative factor. So if you're looking at the world and you're feeling like, look, this isn't working out the way that I want it to, I'm not getting the results that I want, it's not always best to change immediately. However, if you leave it too long, you may forget that how long it's been since you got a result last. So I think one of the things that you pointed out, which I thought was brilliant, is that measure everything. And if you've got a matrix that you measure everything by, and you go, this is the scorecard, and I'm going to score this every day at the end of every day, it does make it, if that decision happens over a 6 or a 12-month period, it does make the decision much easier if you've got the data over that time to look back on. That isn't just in your brain and isn't just an subjective experience I'm still not getting the result. Well, how do you know? Are you measuring anything? So that aspect of when to know when to change, or when to know when to just put more reps in, having measured something every day to keep a track of, you are in a much better position to make an informed decision at that later point. And maybe you don't waste as much time because you've got the data to go, you know what, for the last 6 months, I've been scoring this and I want to be scoring this. So maybe it's me that needs to change, or maybe I need to change my environment altogether.
Yeah,
And
I love it. Absolutely. And I think there's something else that's quite unseen that we don't talk about much these days, which is faith. And I don't mean religious faith. I just mean faith or anticipation in yourself to get the result. Because I could start, okay, I want to be a bodybuilder, for example, and I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to hire somebody who is going to, help me model the behaviors and the values and the beliefs that I need to be a bodybuilder. And I'm going to measure every day. And for 2 or 3 weeks, I may see no results, even in my quantitative measurements. But it's that conviction of, I'm going to make these small incremental investments of energy and time, and they will compound into a result at some point. And I have enough faith that I may not see anything from a quantitative, qualitative point of view. I may not see anything. I just know that result will take place. That anticipation, I'm just waiting for it. It's as if it's already there.
Yeah, it's that level of, it's that level of congruency, isn't it, Pete? Like where you just know it's going to happen. That, it's not about how I get there so much, but I know I'm going to get there, and I'll navigate whatever I need to navigate in the process to get to the goal. But it's the knowledge, the belief, the faith that's for me. So it's kind of like, keeping track of the why.
Yeah. Why you started that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I doing what I do? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
that's why there needs to be a meaningful amount of time that you track for, because there is a lag time. The lag time while you are having that faith and you are getting the reps in and you are focused on your intention and you are working towards it, there is a lag time between the energy that goes out and the energy that starts to come back to you. And it's, I don't know where Connor got the quote from or if he made it up himself, but I remember when we used to work together in the office when we had a larger team, that Connor would often say, guys, the tide goes out, the tide comes back in. Right now the tide's going out. We need to keep putting all the energy out and the tide's going to absolutely come back to us. And it is that lag time. And I guess embedded in that saying, in that presupposition of the tide goes out, there is an element of faith, because you have faith that the tide is going to come back again, So that's amazing. I like this. I like when we're fleshing this out deeper and getting this insight, because it's helping me with a bunch of stuff as well. Connor, is there any comments in the chat? Is there anyone with any questions? Is anyone?
There's one that says, "Cow's looking adorable." That's pretty nice. Annie Kesterton, the gap in my communication on social media is opening awareness that there are other ways of seeing things. So I think that's Annie's motivation or drive that she wants to portray in through social. Tran Quoc from Vietnam, I think, and he shared a big thank you for sharing all the learnings that you have so far.
That's awesome. I'm glad they're getting something out of it.
So tell me,
talking about
Peter and
about lag times.
Is there a lag time?
Slightly.
Little bit.
And then, can you hear me?
Ferrari, Connor. It's not the same.
If there's a lag time, someone else take the mic.
No, you're good now. I think it's great that people are getting so much out of this. Sometimes there's a lag time for the feedback that we get from these podcasts as well, because of not everyone gets a chance to watch it live. They do watch it and get back to me. I know that Genevieve has to go very, very soon. She's got to get back into the training room. Where is everybody up to at the moment, Jen? And where can everybody find you online? What are your groups online? What is your business?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Cal. So you can find us at soulanchorage.com.au. And we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of the bits and pieces. And what was your other question, Mel?
Where are you up to at the moment in your training?
They're doing breakthroughs right now.
Oh, amazing.
I know. They're doing their breakthroughs right now. And then we have 2 days of hypno, and then I'll do another 3 days of work, and then I jump into more trading as a student with you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ah, yes.
Next Thursday.
I'm
Yeah,
so
we have
excited.
Connekt Unplugged coming up.
I know. And I've already had a member of my team do it, and they absolutely friggin' loved it.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
awesome.
very, very excited.
Yeah, I did the training last round too. I'll be in this one. Brilliant training. Thank
Awesome.
you.
And you know what, Peter? Because of our conversation we had, I've added about 8 new frames that I've used over the years that I just, like, there's so many of them. So the manual's been updated quite considerably, about 20% of an update within the manual. So you'll get that on Monday.
Awesome.
And that's
You're like,
no?
did you tell Cal what I called you? What he was like, we're having the chat and I'm asking him all these questions from a sales point of view, like real life stuff that I've had to figure out and overcome. And I'm like, well, Connor's in a Ferrari. I'm going to use that analogy again. He's surely got a faster way of getting through this. The guy's like a framing DJ. He can mix and move things around.
That's actually
A master.
Seriously?
A
Like,
reframing DJ, man.
absolutely. Every time I needed anything, I would jump on the phone to Connor and go, hey, buddy, so anything related to sales? Great.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Anyone listening, do the Connekt and Convert training. And, you know, I said this in my testimonial to you guys, 20 years in sales, frontline type stuff, type activity, dealing with clients. And a lot of trainings, clocked a lot of corporate trainings around sales and that of that ilk. This is the most concise, the stuff that you need to make it work without the fluff.
Yeah.
So anybody listening, I highly recommend the Connekt and Convert sales training, the Forever Client Matrix. That's where it's at.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Peter. This is meant to be a plug on you guys.
We love you guys.
Yeah,
we
do.
wouldn't be where we are without you guys. I mean, obviously, it's us, right? But the fact that we have gone, well, I need a hand with this. Who am I going to go to? Well, who's the best at this? Well, that would be Cal.
Yeah.
Who's the best at this? Well, that will be Connor.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially
And
when we
that's
start,
what
right,
it
Jen?
takes. Hey?
Especially when we first start, it can
Absolutely.
be quite lonely. We all leave our corporate jobs, our teams, our whatever we're doing, whatever we're up to. And then you're in this business game, and where you would have had a hallway chat with a colleague to ask a question or just get reassurance on something, that's just gone. So obviously,
And then every
Connor
time
and
you
Cal filled that gap.
And then every time you up level, they can still help you with that. So from my startup, where it was just me, to now having a team and up leveling to the next level, Connor and Cal still have the answer.
Yeah, because I think that's the hallmark of a great coach, is to know where you're at, just give you what you need right there, not the whole thing and overwhelm you.
That's
just
right.
what you need at that moment.
Well, thank you guys. I'm very grateful. I've got some amazing memories coming to mind. Genevieve, there's a talking you off the ledge, literally off the back stairs at the hotel.
A few times.
Peter, I remember when you got your first corporate exec, someone from high level at Coca-Cola, and you rang me up and Yeah, we had a great conversation that day, and I was just so stoked that you were hitting the ground and running, and you haven't stopped. And now, honestly, I love our conversations that we have on a regular basis with both you guys, because yes, we may still have the answers for the stuff that you're going through, but you're also out there hearing different things, seeing different things that we're not seeing. And it's become a great kind of symbiotic relationships where you guys share with us your insights, your knowledge, what you're seeing out there in the industry, and some absolute golden nuggets from both of you on the times that we've been connecting. So thank you. So Peter, before maybe we wrap it up, because we have been going for nearly an hour. Peter, where can people find you? Who are you working with specifically, and how can they get on board with your next event?
So I work with executives who are, I guess, classified as people that manage people who manage people. So multiple layers of teams, and business owners that also manage people. And the things I help with are people, process, and tools. So the people aspect, the process, the business process, specifically around sales or operations. I was just from past background, and tools. So from a technology point of view as well, I can consult around that with my background. A lot of the work that I do is, starts with leaders that are stuck first, that feel like the needle's not moving and tried everything, don't know what's next. And where people can find me, hannaconsulting.co. So it's not .com, it's HANNA consulting.co. And I'm on LinkedIn. That's where I write and share my stuff mainly. Get on my mailing list.
Skills.
That's where I write. I just share my thoughts for the day.
I think you're due for one too, by the way.
Oh, very much so. Maybe today. I might sit with it later.
Yeah. Connor, any last words?
Just a huge thank you I can't thank you enough for your support. And watching, we both met you 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, and where you are now. This is why we do what we do. It's the planting of the seed and watching the flower grow. And that takes time. But the reward absolutely and always outweighs the time, the patience to get there and the discipline to get there. So it's been a pleasure to work with you up until now, and I cannot wait to see you prosper even more. As you know, the phone lines are always open, and your success is ultimately our success. We wouldn't be here unless the people we worked with had immense success. So continue being amazing in the world and transforming lives.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the Connekt Unplugged podcast. We will be, from 2024, sharing this exclusively in our business group on Facebook. It's, I should remember the full name, but it's advice on the business and the training schools. So anyone who's got a training school, anyone who's working one-to-many as a coach, that's who we are focusing on. We want to continue to bring you guys content so that you can get lifetime support from us. And that's where we're going to be doing it. So we'll be sharing this live in there. It will be exclusively on live in there. And then we will have our producer edit this and have it be posted in YouTube as well. But thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. We'll definitely have you back on the podcast. It's been a very insightful conversation. I've gotten so much out of it myself. I know Connor has as well, just by the way he's nodding. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time, because it is valuable. I know, working on your businesses, you both got families as well. It leaves very little time for anything else. So thank you for being here. We're really grateful for it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Cal, for everything you do, mate.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connekt Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting. If you are a practitioner, a coach, or a trainer in the alternative therapy modality space, the Forever Client Matrix is something that we've modeled in the last 30 combined years, both Connor and my experience. And we've turned it into a 2-day intensive, and we want to give you a preview of that Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely.
We want to make the bar for them to enter into that program very, very low and have them get incredible results.
I've sold about $40 million worth, and together we've sold about $100 million worth with our teams.
That's right. We believe that trust and reliability is the currency of the future. So if you want to turn every transaction into a transformational experience, if you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.